Welcome again to our online exam club. Today we're going to be looking at part 2 of the reading and use of English paper for FCE. This is called the Open Cloze. In this part of the test, you're given a short piece of reading material with several words missed out. And in each place you need to think of the single word that goes in that space. Now be careful, because it's a single word, don't use any contracted forms like didn't, because that counts as 2 words, did not. The only exception to this is can't, which can also be written as cannot, which is 1 word. But that's unlikely to appear. Generally, there can be more than 1 answer for 1 or 2 of the questions here. If you can think of more than 1 answer, that's great, but please, in the exam, only write 1 of the answers on the answer sheet. And when you're writing your answers on the answer sheet, it's important to remember first of all that you write in pencil for the reading and use of English paper, and secondly, write in capital letters. Some languages, Polish for instance, have a slightly different handwritten alphabet to English. So you've got to make sure that your answers are easy to read, or you could get the answer right but still lose the point simply because you didn't make it clear enough. It's true that in this paper, in this part of the paper, the right answer will be a short answer. As I say to my students, if it's long, it's wrong. The answer will be but, however, which, it. Something small like that, a small unit of language. It's not going to be hypothetical or photosynthesis. These are impossible options. So what are you looking for? Well, like in the first part, we're looking at phrasal verbs, connecting language, contradicting forms, pronouns especially. These sort of things will come up quite a lot. So here are a few tips for you. Read the whole sentence. Try to see how many clauses there are. Now, a clause is an idea in a sentence. Most sentences have 1 clause, but a lot have many. The one I've just said had several, and they were connected with the word but. I started by saying most sentences have 1 clause, which you could say is a positive statement. Then I said some have many, which goes against that clause. When we have 2 clauses that go against each other, we need to show it with a linking word. In my case, I chose but. So in the test, look at the clauses in the sentence and see how they fit together. If they fit together neatly, then we want to use but to show a difference. We might need although or however. And if they add meaning, support each other, perhaps we're looking for the word and. Like in part 1, try to ignore words that seem irrelevant or add too much detail to the sentence. They might just be there to distract you. Try to strip away the language wherever you can. Sometimes it seems as if the writing here, the text, is harder than you would expect at B2 level for FCE. But it's simply not the case. The test itself is standardized. Every test is fair. So try to take away the difficult words, and you might find that the word you're looking for fits in very easily. And connected to that, remember even the most basic of English grammar. The most basic part of grammar that we teach is that for every verb there needs to be a subject. We don't say eat unless it's the imperative. We say I eat, or you eat, or he eats. Now this isn't true of all languages. If you look at Polish, for example, which is an inflectional language, you have conjugations within the verbs. So the verb grać, which means to play, you would say ja gram, or just gram. You don't need to say I play, because the I part is carried by the verb. That's not true in English. So you have to be careful, but use that information. If you see a subject and no verb, look for the verb. If you see a verb and no subject, look for the subject. Perhaps it's a pronoun that connects the text to something earlier. Sometimes it helps to take the information around a gap and turn it into a question. Quite often the question word that you use will actually be the word that you're looking for that gap. Okay, I think it's time to do some practice now. If you've already done the previous video where we looked at part 1, the multiple choice cloze, the same materials are required here. But if not, look in the description at the bottom of the video, follow the link and download the PDF. In the PDF, we're looking at page 22. So, take a few minutes now to attempt the task, then we'll look together at the answers. Okay, let's see how you did. For number 9, we want the word took, because we're talking about the time for the ships to travel, and it took a long time. So here we need to know the right verb to go with the time reference. In number 10, we want the word rather. We want something that means instead of, but we can't use instead of because that's 2 words, and also we've got the word than after the gap. So we say going westwards rather than eastwards. For number 11, there were 3 options. We want something that either makes set into a phrasal verb or collocates with set. Since we're talking about ships, we can say he set sail. But if you want to make a phrasal verb to describe the start of the journey, we're looking at set off or set out. Number 12, we want the word in. Columbus didn't succeed in finding the Spice Islands. When you try to succeed, you succeed at doing something, or you succeed in doing something. Here we want in. Number 13, we want did. Let's look at this. Without the gap, we've got he managed to discover. Now manage is the verb, but we've already seen in the first part of the sentence, the first clause, Columbus didn't succeed. Didn't puts us into the past simple, but manage doesn't look like past simple. We need to use the auxiliary verb of do in the past simple form to show that the time is still the same. This is an example of the emphatic do. He did manage to discover the Americas. It makes it stronger. Number 14, we've got another phrasal verb. He came across another pepper. So he found another pepper by accident. This is the only option we have here. For number 15, we want the word after. Soon after Columbus's discovery, large quantities of chilies were being shipped back to Spain from the Caribbean. So we want after to show that we're talking about a time. And then finally, for number 16, we have 2 options. We have the word sail, and we need a preposition that goes with sail. So we can either say fresh chilies were on sale, or fresh chilies were for sale. Okay, so I hope you did pretty well there. Think about your answers, think about where they came from, and see what lessons you can learn from this experience. So, until next time, thank you very much.